Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome back. Today we're doing a walk around on this mystery sign. Picked this up yesterday, and by the time I got off the trailer, it was a little late, and decided to call it a night. But today, we're back and taking a detailed look at this sign. It's an unusual design. You can see it has attachment points with the angle brackets on the top and on the bottom. It hung between two horizontal awnings on the front of a building, and this is the building here. You could see where it would bolt to the wood of the awnings above and below. Since the roof was angled on the bottom part, they did kind of build this kind of a creative little if you want to call it that, level of a platform to make an angle on it. But the bolts there are square, so they're not hex heads. It gives you kind of an idea how old this was. I was doing a little bit of investigating. The guy I bought it from said his uncle owned the building and his parents had a restaurant in there and from the 90s to the mid 2000s, and they had painted over it. It was blue on the top and the bottom, and this circle part was divided in half along like the belt line there. The top was white, bottom was green, and it said halal meats and kebabs restaurant. So it was not neon at the time. Obviously the housing holes don't match up for any of that. So it was just a paint over repurposing. And you can see on the bottom here they had conduits with Romex coming out that had floodlights that would shine up at the side of the lights. Only this side of the sign actually had the lettering on it. This sign was painted the same color scheme with the blue, white, green, and then blue, but it was just painted flat, no lettering or anything on that one. I Google Street View, the historic Google Street View, kind of helped me out with that. Found I had a couple older pictures online. It was painted that way until about 2014, when it was painted this kind of a reddish, maroonish color. The restaurant must have closed, but the guy I bought it from, really cool dude, but he thought that maybe it was Dino's hair salon, is what he said. Dino's hair salon. I could not find anything with initial searching with that, but I'll keep digging. I did find an older photograph on the local museum archives website with this in the background for about 1979, winter of 79. It was a 35 millimeter negative, and the sign itself was about this big, tiny little postage stamp. So I couldn't read anything on there, but I did see it there back in 79. So it's at least 40 years old. I did find another photograph of the building from 1960 where this sign was not hanging on it in 1960. Back in the day, neon signs were repurposed and such, but usually you see patches that are covering old housing holes or something like that, and I see none of that here. This looks like where these housings were are the original locations. These housings are number 300 housings, and you can see some spots for tube stands that broke off up here. That's a little bit of a clue. I want to say this is probably one unit, whatever that said. There are 12 housings total, which means there would be 6 tubes per side. I'm a little perplexed at this side because I see no tube stands or whatsoever. No evidence of tube stands. No even screw holes where the tube stands used to be. Like, because there's screws that would attach them, but I don't even see this anymore. I wonder if there's they just use thick enough paint to cover it all, or what. But there should be some housings, or rather the tube stands on that. But the housings, they're the number 300. They're the pigtail or tether kind of housings that you see. This was dangling out, and they just painted over it. Kind of hard to tell with the lighting, but there's blue paint under that, so it was painted blue. That top part was blue. Before that, I was painted this maroon color, and there is, I see, another one here, old pigtail style housing. So the has a few doors on the outside. On the back side, down 1, 2, 3, and 4. I don't see any attachment points for the transformers. Usually something that maybe like this, that bolt, but I don't see it. That's another one up here. Oh, you know what? Right here, check this out. This is I bet it's got one of those straps where they strap in one and then bolt the bottom side. So I bet that's how that works. So there's probably a transformer there. And maybe another one here. Well, you need a big door to get a transformer in. So that's a big enough door. And that is definitely a hefty door. So there's probably a good sized transformer here. I bet this transformer drove the face, whatever this round part was, and this one, that tube, or maybe a combination of a couple of these tubes, if I had to guess. So maybe 2 transformers in there. I have not looked inside. You see there's a bit of damage here. It's a little dented right there, but I think if I just take this door off and pop it out, there, no big deal. This conduit hole where the power used to come in, you see it's been kind of twisted out. The owner of the building said there was a windstorm last spring, and the wood of the awning had rotted out enough where it caught the wind and torqued the sign, and it fell over onto the second awning, and it was just lying there. And it must have ripped out the conduit there. But anyway, enough talking. I want to get inside and take a look at what we got in here. So I'm gonna get a ladder and to take these screws off of these doors, and we'll take a peek inside and bring it back. All right, got all the paint chipped out of the screws on the access panels. Screws taken out. I haven't actually looked inside because I like a surprise. But I forgot to mention up here, we got some, looks like more like original colors. I got a seafoam green here, and it's kind of red underneath when you scratch it off. So maybe the original color was a red. Kind of hard to say. Here's this right here. We got the maroon chipped off of the blue on top of seafoam, and I don't know if that white under there is a primer or what, but I see some red here too. Some aged, maybe aged seafoam color there. And this is funny. This makes me laugh. But this seafoam green is different from the green that the sign was painted on the bottom half here. That was more of like a lime green. You can see here. So that was later. But let's take a look inside. I did happen to see the corner of a through the conduit hole over there. I saw a corner of a primary side of a transformer. So let's see what is in here. See if we can see any clues. Sometimes they're cave paintings, writings of notes from the people who made them, like notes themselves, to see what they could do. Assembly. Nice. All right. We got way back there. Leaking transformer. Some conduit. I got a broken housing on a pigtail. Some GTO, high voltage wiring between the back sides of the housings there, and some ceramic pass-throughs down to the bottom section. And more over there. Let's take a look down through this little access panel. There we go. See a little transformer way back there. You see him up there? Kind of a small one. I guess maybe a 5,000. Something little. I feel like an archaeologist. When's the last time this thing was opened? 40 years ago? Who knows? Let's take a look at this big panel here back here. Got some wire nuts. This is what I was talking about. Got that primary side I was seeing. There's some tubing on this right here. I have a feeling that's probably just used to insulate the wire. Sorry about the shaky cam. I can't really get a gimbal inside the can of a neon sign very well. So that's that for the top half. Maybe you can see way up in there. Anything interesting at the top? Here's some housings. Right on. Let's take a look down below, since we're here at this one. Get that screwed off there. GTO housing, some tubing on. Oh, GTO. That's kind of a bad angle. Let's go to the other side and see if we can see something better. In through here. Some more dangling broken tube. Standoff there down at the bottom. Sorry, the lighting kind of sucks. Sorry, that's rub it off. Well, so get the GTO off the can down there. What is this? It's very dusty GTO going nowhere. And it's connected to there's another. This right here is a ceramic. Another ceramic standoff. Ugh. Dusty in there. More ceramic standoffs. Well, let's try this big door down here. Still kind of painted shit. We're gonna pry this one off. Hey, more of that red. Oh, look at these. Big ones. These look kind of old. Rather old. Now, if you see these three-dimensional little shelves on the back there, I want to say they were incorporated into the design somehow because of the original sign. Because why would you put that there if you could just have a flat back towards the end of a building? Let's go to the other side there. See if we can peek in through here. Yeah, a little housing ring and a bunch of rust. These, they got a secondary midpoint ground on them right there. So these are probably 12s or 15s maybe. They got an Underwriter Laboratory sticker on there. I wonder if I can get you in here and wipe off, wipe off these. Oh man. I feel a plate. It's way too crusty to see. You can probably see the plate, but I can't clean it off. So that ID plate. There's a lot of times there's a manufacturing date code or stamp on there that may give me a hint of what the time frame this last. I mean, well, when these transformers were manufactured, at least, so that can help you narrow down the data and things. But that's pretty cool. I like these two big old ones. They kind of remind me of, if you look at these primary and secondary insulators, they're shaped, and the shape of the can of that, it looks kind of like this one over here, almost exactly like this one, an Acme Electric. So those insulators look almost identical, the shape of this can. So I bet those are Acme Electric down in there. But all right, well, I don't see any cave paintings or scrawlings of what this, give any hint of what this may have been. But if you guys have any idea, feel free to shoot me a comment below, and we can kind of investigate, see what we can find out about this thing. But until then, it remains a mystery sign. But anyway, thanks for joining me on the investigation here, and if I find out more, we'll do an update later. I'll probably do some exploratory sanding on here, see if I can't find something below, because I know what it looked like painted with the halal meat and kebabs on there. If I can sand off just past that layer, I might be able to get an idea what's underneath. But until then, thanks for watching. Hit subscribe for updates on this sign and other neon signs. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys. Okay, so not quite done yet. I was digging around in the can. Found a couple of old electrodes still hanging on. This one actually has a bit of tube left. This is 12 millimeter. I believe it's clear. I think this is just dirt inside since it goes all the way up. Electrodes wouldn't have phosphor on the inside unless it got washed in there somehow. And then I was digging through all the, what about, 40 plus years of detritus, dust, and debris on the bottom of the can, and I found some bits of glass tubing, most notably this one. And this one, these are broken off of electrodes like this, That would have been inside the can. Most of the tubes are outside, but a little bit sticks into the can. And collected over the years, I guess. A lot of clear, but I'm going to take some of these phosphor coated bits and hit them with the ultraviolet light, the mineral light, and see if we can't find out what color those phosphors are. Alright, so we got the mineral light hooked up here, and you may remember this from the previous video of mine, but you can use ultraviolet light to test the colors of the phosphor. So I'll turn off this light here and see what they got going on. Blue. The glass itself glows blue, this whole leaded glass, but let's see if there's a it's kind of like a white. I don't think the digital camera sensor really picks up the true color that I'm seeing here, but it's kind of hard. It's all coated in dirt. Nothing that sticks out blatantly obvious as like a bright color. Mostly just looks kind of white, so yeah, maybe that'll make more sense later when I find out what the actual sign was. Anyway, that's it for now. We'll see you next time. Thanks.